All right, ready?
Yep.
Okay, well, my takeaway at the end of the game, being in overtime and getting the win, not pretty in a lot of areas. Know that from just how the game went before we even get to the film, but at the end of it, we practiced overtime, we talked about overtime, we get a chance to be in overtime, and we win the game. So I'd say we did just enough against a really, and let me say this too with Wyoming. I thought they took advantage of their bye week. I know they had their backup quarterback in, who we played against last year. But I thought they took advantage of it and did things in this game that were difficult to defend, difficult to work against on the offensive side. I don't think we helped ourselves in some areas on special teams. That became a factor. We did not win the turnover battle, and normally you don't win the game when you don't win the turnover battle. But that wasn't how this game was tonight. This game was about our team finding a way, coming together, all those things that it's explainable, but it also is part of sports and it's part of a team sport where guys go out there and they find a way to get it done. And we had a great kicker tonight, Sachs, helped us, kept us in the game, and was able to punch one in at the end there. And the other kid didn't. Yeah, that's really what it came down to. They had an opportunity to also tie the game up, and they didn't, and we did. So as a coach and as a fan, you'll look at all the things that should have happened. As a player, you're out there just scratching and clawing, and the win is the most important thing. Because at the end, that's the result. That's what the work from Sunday all the way through Saturday is for, that W that you play out there, you play together to go out there and get done. And right now, I mean, that should be their focus. Those guys fought hard. They fought a good football team, and we'll go back and pop on the tape. We'll go through all these things, and they'll look at it. But tonight, I want these guys to enjoy just coming together and getting it done. Bottom line, because as a player, that's what you work so hard to do, and that's all that really matters right now. So it was good to be back home. Appreciate the fans, and it was awesome. At the end of the day, we found a way to win, and our guys did a really good job in some critical moments, and it might have been the last few plays of the game, but you know what, last few plays of the game in any sport, team sport, it matters. So, questions?
Riley Wimpy drops that interception in the end zone when he comes in, gets that big 3rd and 1 stop. What's that say about that young man?
Well, things happen, right? I mean, it's not like he, it's a fundamental and finishing the play and all that, but he comes back and, some guys, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Some guys right there, you have a chance to win the game. It's over, right? It's in your hands. The guy knocks it out of his hands, or he doesn't catch it, whatever. What are you going to do? Is it think about that the whole time, or just, hey, I'm on to the next play and go make a difference? That's exactly what he did. But that's Riley, and that's a lot of guys on our team, and I think that's the other 10 guys around him too, like, hey, dude, next play. Like, it's over. We got you. And I didn't see that from our team. Sometimes you see a player watch games where, you're stressed, you just want to end it, you want to get it over with, and, the guy doesn't make a play or whatever, and everybody else in the team, like, they're up there on their knees and looking up at the sky and all that, like, oh, how could this happen? No, we just got back up and went and played the next play. And that's how they operated. And those are the things, to me, like, I looked at with our guys that stand out as, all right, that's a positive. I think that's the maturity, that's leadership, and the execution piece needs to be better. But as far as everything else, it was very good.
Last time you guys were in overtime, you kicked a field goal and lost. There's the running and the kicker. It's 4th and 1.
Yeah.
Any thought of going for it there and going for the touchdown, or what went through your mind there?
Oh yeah, well, there's always that thought. But no, not tonight. I wanted to know the distance. I wanted to know, all right, where's that going to put us? And at that point, I did not want to take points off the board. That was. It wasn't like Wyoming was, going up and down the field on us either. I think there's some of that too. If you got a team that you're not stopping, then 4th and 1 becomes a lot more of an option where you go for it, you try to extend the drive and go put 7 points on the board. I didn't feel like, one, we weren't doing much against Wyoming's defense. They weren't doing much against us. So it was one of those, like, we're not taking points off the board. Points right now, I mean, it was 17-17, right?
Yeah.
After 4 quarters.
Yeah.
And overtime is happening now too. It's not like either team was putting up a ton of points. So I didn't feel like that was the right decision to go for it there and take points off the board when points were hard to come by in this game. Now, that doesn't mean in another game, it's 50 whatever, that you're not going, you know what, we're going to go for this and we're going to get the first down. Because again, if that's happening, you're probably executing on offense right. You probably feel a lot better about getting it. There's a lot more options. We weren't very good on our third downs tonight. So, on fourth down, that's the same thing to me, right? Third and fourth down, I didn't think we had a really good call that was just a go-to, no-brainer that we could go get that 1 yard and just continue the drive.
What did they tell you about the distance? How far would it have been?
So it was 6, a yard, like a yard and a half, or right in that range, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I asked the guy, and it was a 5-yard penalty, and I think it was like 4th and 6, right?
Yeah.
Right around there-ish. So, it was going to be at least a yard in that situation. And with some of the spot, there were some things tonight where that just, I guess I wasn't feeling real confident that it was going to be, under a yard or it's going to be inches and all that.
Coming into this season, your offensive line veteran maybe appeared to be a strength of the team. It's had some struggles this season, and even tonight it appeared that way. What has been your take on where those guys are at?
Well, it's part of the season, or not part of the season, but just part of every week the opponents that we play. We do want to run it. We wanted to run it in this game, and I don't think we had 100 yards in this game. So, what was our yards per carry?
3.2.
3.2. I think Wyoming had like 2.8 or something like that. Might have been their average, right? So 3.2 is not what we want. I'm not going to say that we beat their average. We wanted to run the ball better. They did a good job. I think they whooped us a few times up front. And it's not like, you go get 1 yard, 2 yards, right? You get 0 yards. I'm talking about we got negative. We lost a fumble because we got whooped up front. So that's disappointing, and that's not the standard that we're trying to achieve. Those guys up front. So, and I know they feel the same way. I didn't think we won that battle tonight up front, and we need to be better. And we do have a veteran crew, and we should be better than that. And we should be able to make better adjustments as an offensive staff, and better adjustments, as players too, and communicate that. But I put that back on, some of the things that we did just play-wise. I think we could have done some things play selection-wise that would have helped our guys a little bit more, and we didn't do that. So that's part of why the game was closer than it should have been, and we should be able to score more points than that. But tonight didn't happen, and at the end of the day, we got just enough.
How long before the game did Chase know he was going to be starting tonight?
He's been practicing all week and preparing all week. That's the thing about Chase. He's been ready. Been ready all week and getting himself geared up to go out there and practice. And he took the majority of the reps this week. So, and Chase is a tough dude. That guy's a tough dude. That guy has got my absolute respect, and I love that about him. I love his mentality. And you know what, tonight, the one there at the end, we threw the pick. That was one I called that play, and I thought where we were trying to get it, we needed to make a better adjustment on how we were running it. But we were trying to get at least on the other 40-yard line, inside that 40-yard line, so we could make that chance at kicking the ball. So he's out there trying to operate the things we're asking him to do, and I appreciate that about him. So I thought he played well enough tonight to get the job done.
What was the deal with Hank tonight, and could he have played at all?
No.
When things aren't going right for 3.5 quarters, how do you make them go right when you need them to the most? And Khalil Shakir's impact on the game,
Yeah.
He obviously made
Well,
one.
so that drive, we had the one, we threw an under to him, and then we handed the ball off to him, right? that guy, and he dives in the end zone. Those are those are guys on our team that we have that can go make plays, and you want them in critical moments, and he's certainly one of them, and he did exactly that. So, you know, his impact on the game and his ability to go do things like that is huge. And we got to, you know, we find ways to get him the ball, and we did in that drive.
I know that obviously the 4th and 1 at BYU, you guys didn't get it, but tonight at the end of the game, and when you really needed one, you did. Was that the timeout was obviously beneficial? Riley was telling us that you guys knew what play they were going to run. How in tune were you at that point?
That I knew what they were going to run.
Yeah,
there's a few options. I mean, I'm throwing out like 3 options, right? They can run it, they can keep it. And it's just one of those things. And Coach Schmedding did a good job. He had a good feel for what they were going to do. He's watched a lot more tape on their offense than I have, and we needed to be aggressive in that situation, and we needed to have the guys that needed to cover, make sure that their eyes were locked on their man, because we've been in that situation too, and they did. And we made the right call, and our guys stepped up, and that was huge, right? You're right, we didn't get it, and we did. That's really the story of a season, right? One game you don't, one game you do, and that's football a little bit right there. I thought Wyoming did a good job. They were in 3rd and 1. I don't know how many times tonight. It was just like bang, bang, 3rd and 1, bang, bang, 3rd and 1, bang, bang, 3rd and 1, over. And we got to do a better job on first down, so we get them in longer yardage situations, and it's harder on them.
You said you thought the play calling could have helped the guys tonight. What did you not see there that you wanted to see?
I always think that. I mean, I feel like, you know, with our offense, you know, we're built to go out. They should be built to go out there and score points. And you know, our kids are playing hard, and I just think we could do things on that side, and including myself, that can help these guys out a little bit to stay more manageable. I mean, we weren't in really manageable situations enough, in my opinion. I didn't think our run game was, you know, had all the options that we needed to have in it going into this game. So, you know, there's just some things in there too. I mean, it is what it is. Our players play hard. We can do a better job as coaches, and with our game planning too. So, you know, that's part of it. It's not just lack of execution. It's also, you know, we have to have things in there that allow our players to be successful. We did in the pass game. But, you know, I think part of that, we're talking about the O-line. I mean, you know, we want to talk about a veteran O-line that's not executing to the level that we all think they should be executing to. But we've got to help them out too. So I'm not going to put this all on the players. I mean, this is coaches. This is everybody. They got to be involved in that. So I don't want to sit there and say, well, yeah, we had all the perfect plays and the guys didn't execute them, and that's all on them. They just need to execute the plan and all that. No, we need to have a better plan for them. And then they need to go out there and execute. That's how you work together. So we're only putting up 20 points. It's not on the players. That's on everybody on that side of the ball, because we should be putting up a lot more points than that. I mean, what, we have 10 points at halftime, so we scored 1 touchdown in half. No, that's not good enough.
What has it been like? You referencing that? I mean, coaching this team this season. I mean, you won 14-7 this year too. So
not good enough.
But you guys still come out with wins.
You still win, yeah. But there's the game within the game. There's the game within the game, and there's standards that you have, and you know what, we need to be better than that. So, yeah, I mean, there's, you know, some guys, a win's a win, but there's also standards in how you play. And you know what, I'm not going to sit here and just put it all on the players. So, you know, there needs to be, we need to do a better job of helping those guys and giving them opportunities to go out there and create. And we do it at times. We do it at times, and we're able to move the ball down the field, and we don't do it. So it's a combination. It's not just on the players. It's everybody working together, and we all have to do it.
You mentioned Eric at the beginning of this thing. He says that, you know, he felt like he needed redemption from the BYU game. I mean, a lot happened after his missed kick, but he says he looks at the scoreboard and there's a 3-point game and he missed the kick, and he said he wanted to prove that was a fluke. Just your thoughts on his ability to come through in the clutch there.
Well, I appreciate that about him. You know, that's a great teammate, because when you look up there, naturally, if it was 7 points, every offensive player would be going, that's on us, right? And I mean, that's how you should feel. You should feel that way when there's a loss. All right, what could you have done better? That guy has been absolutely, in my opinion, superb on his opportunities. I know we missed that one, but think about what he did tonight. Think about what he did. Go back to Florida State. I mean, it seems like last year, but go back to that. What, do you have 5 in that game? That kept us in the game. We did nothing. 5, and finally did something at that point. So yeah, those guys, and Sachs in particular, he's played well, and the season's not over. He needs to continue to play well. He needs to go out there and make every kick. When we give him the right range, he should make every single one of them. And I believe he can, and I believe he believes he could, to go out there and do that. So that's what I love about him. I like that guy. He's got that mindset to walk out there, hey, I got you. Let's go out there and do it. That's fun to be around. That's the kind of competitors you want to be around. So I've been very impressed with him. I'm glad we got him. I'm glad he's on this football team. He makes us better. He showed tonight. And at the end of the game, that's kind of what it comes down to, right? We made it, they didn't. And it came down to special teams. It came down to the kickers, and he found a way to get it done.
At the end of the first half, Wyoming was driving down the field to score. It looked like they were going to score a touchdown. Curtis ends the half with those 2 back-to-back sacks.
Yeah.
How huge is that just to hold them to a field goal there heading into half?
Absolutely huge. Again, field goal. When there's going to be some type of movement on the offensive side, explosive play, and I can't remember exactly what happened, how they got down there, but those sacks are extremely important. It keeps them out of scoring a touchdown, the momentum, all those things, and that was a huge part of it. Again, look at the end of the score, right? You never know at those points in the game how it's all going to end, but then as you piece it all together when the game's over, you go back, that was critical, that wasn't, that was critical. Those type of things start to show up, and how big a sack turns out to be in that type of situation.
You guys turn around and hit a field goal, obviously in overtime.
You did what?
You guys turn around in overtime and get the field goal.
Yeah.
Does your mentality right away be, all right, if they have a field goal attempt, I'm calling the timeout just before they're about to kick it to ice the kicker, or do you kind of let that play out?
No, I didn't think about it that far ahead. It was more of as they were getting, because you don't know on the field where they're at, and a little bit of it is too, are they scrambling? Sometimes maybe a team might send out their field goal unit late because they don't know what they want to do, and if they're scrambling, you don't always call a timeout, right? You just have to kind of feel that a little bit. But in this situation, and it wasn't really to ice it wasn't really about their team. It was about our team. Just making sure that we had our alignment right, we had a chance, because we were trying to block it. Yeah, we were really trying to ice him and just hope he missed it, because that you never know that's going to happen. You're trying to block it and create a play so he does miss it because of the block, and that was the primary reason why we called the timeout.
All right.
Good.